Hello, Gene Schwimmer here. Welcome to today's vlog, which vlog presents me with a bit of a difficult decision because there are two topics I would like to talk about today, but I'm probably going to have only time for one. So I have to choose which topic. On the one hand, I wanted to talk about the Trump tax returns well, not the tax returns, actually it's the IRS transcripts that the New York Times managed to get and publish. The other subject is the strike today by Uber and Lyft drivers, but actually strike is not the right word, I think. It's probably more like demonstration or protest, because strike means you walk off the job. It means they make demands. If they don't get them, then they refuse to drive. I could be wrong, but my understanding is that's not what's happening. So I can't do both. I think I'm going to talk about the Uber and Lyft drivers strike, protest, demonstration, whatever you want to call it. I'll have to hopefully talk about the Trump tax transcripts tomorrow, but you know me, I have a plan to talk about a subject, and then between the time I plan to talk about the subject and the time to talk about the subject arrives, something else happens, and then I want to talk about that. So forgive me, bear with me if I end up not talking about the Trump tax transcripts, but as I stand here today, that's my intention. So let's talk about the Uber and Lyft drivers. What exactly are they protesting, demonstrating, striking about? Their basic demand is they want higher pay. Now, it's kind of ironic because one of the problems that the Uber and Lyft drivers are having in some cities, I believe New York City is one of them, where they passed a law where, well, their business came from being able to undercut, in New York City at least, the New York City taxi drivers. So the city council passed a law requiring Uber and Lyft to pay the Uber and Lyft drivers the same amount they would get as New York City taxi drivers. So what that does is that makes them suddenly not competitive with the taxi drivers. So to me, I find it a bit ironic that they're now turning around and asking for more money, which at least in New York City, if that puts them in the same price range as the New York City taxi drivers, then why call an Uber or a Lyft when you can just stick your hand out and hail a taxi? I don't know what they're thinking. I think, well, what they're thinking is they're socialists in a way. They probably don't realize it. They may not realize it because unless they've been hiding somewhere, they know, or they should know, that especially since Uber and Lyft recently went public, so this was very widely announced, both of those companies are losing money. So they're losing money and they want to get paid more from a company that is losing money. Somebody has to explain to me how that makes any sense. Oh, by the way, what I'm waving around here, these are my notes. Bear with me if I refer to them occasionally, but I don't want to forget anything. I'm not exactly Mr. Memory. So in fact, to prove how bad my memory is, I'm trying to remember what I was just talking about before I started talking about my notes. I was talking about what the Uber and the Lyft drivers want. They want to be paid more even though the company is losing money. And that's basically socialism, where you want to get paid a, quote, living wage, regardless of whether the company is generating the profits and the income to pay you. That's socialism. But beyond that, there's this whole concept of a living wage, because, correct me again if I'm wrong, at least when Uber and Lyft started, my understanding of Uber and Lyft was that they were never designed as a vehicle, forgive the pun, as a vehicle to earn a living wage or any kind of a living at all. As I understood it, it was just a way to pick up a few extra bucks. If you're driving to pick up your girlfriend to drive to the movies, you go on the app and you see if there's somebody who's looking for a ride and it's not too far out of your way, then what the heck? If it's on your way anyway or not too much out of your way, why not pick somebody up, drive them somewhere, drop them off, and get some money that would maybe pay for the movie or at least the popcorn. That was my understanding. It's basically the same misconception that a lot of people have about Social Security, which is that it's supposed to be a sole source of income, that it's supposed to support you with no other income. It's not. It's supposed to be supplemental income. You still have to save. You still have to hopefully have a 401k plan, which brings us now back to the Uber and Lyft drivers, because that's another thing that they want. They want benefits. I suppose a 401k plan, healthcare, and I suppose other benefits, perks, maybe sick days. I don't know. The whole point is that they want to, well, as one of these demonstrators expressly said in an interview that I saw, which is that they're basically employees and they should be treated like employees and they should receive benefits like employees because they're not independent contractors. They're called independent contractors, but they're not. They're really employees. Well, I have bad news for you. Hate to pop your balloon, but you're independent contractors. You are not employees. How do I know? I know because I've been both. You're looking at probably one of the few people in America who has lost more jobs than he's had. I've had a lot of jobs. I've lost count. Well, I'm 67 years old. I'm not one of these people that went to work for some company as a janitor and worked my way up over 50 years at the same company and became CEO. I've had a lot of odd jobs, from cutting patterns in a leather coat factory to cleaning apartments. I used to wash mobile homes. Well, one benefit of that is that from jobs like that, there's nowhere to go but up. You can't go, except to be totally unemployed, from cleaning apartments for, I think it was $5 an hour. You can't go much lower than that. So I had a floor under me. That was just about the only advantage. It certainly wasn't the money. But the point I want to make is that today I'm a real estate broker. So, well, when I was cleaning apartments, I was an independent contractor. When I was a word processor, another one of my many jobs, I used to be a word processor. I received a regular paycheck. I was on salary. I had benefits. But enough about me. Let's talk about what is an independent contractor, what is an employee, because I've been both, so I can tell you the difference. Today I'm a real estate broker. I'm an independent contractor. Well, I'll put it a different way. When I was a salesperson before I became a broker and I was under a sponsoring broker, I was an independent. Today I'm a self-employed broker, so I guess you could say I'm an independent contractor. Well, I am, but the main advantage of being self-employed is nobody can fire me. This is the first job I've had in my whole 67 years of life on this earth where I couldn't be fired, because I don't know how I fire myself. But I'll tell you, if I could, there are times that I would fire myself, but well, I can't do it. So here is the difference. It's very simple, actually, if you're wondering whether you're an employee or an independent contractor. It's when you do your taxes and your income is reported to you before you report it in turn to the IRS, what is the form that you get your income reported to you on? If it's a W-2, then you're an employee. If it's a 1099, then you're an independent contractor. So if you're an independent contractor and you want to be an employee, then you have to fulfill the conditions to become an employee. Now, these Uber and Lyft drivers, they talk about, oh, I'll get benefits, I'll get vacation time or sick time or whatever the heck they expect to get. There's a downside to that they apparently are not taking into consideration. First and foremost, you're going to have money deducted from your paycheck. So that's one criterion to determine whether you're an independent contractor or an employee. The second one is, can your employer tell you what to do? If your employer can tell you what to do, can order you to do this and don't do that, you're an employee. If they cannot, then you're an independent contractor. So you look at these Uber drivers and these Lyft drivers, and my understanding is that they set their hours. Uber cannot tell an Uber driver, okay, you're going to work Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Go pick up this person, don't pick up these people. That's a whole advantage of the job. You're on your own time. You can work when you want to. Don't work when you don't want to. You give that up if you become an employee, then you're going to be a regular 9-to-5er or part-timer or whatever hours. You're going to be like a Starbucks barista, maybe paid more, but if you get paid more, then at least in New York, and I'm sure other cities, you're going to be competing with the regular, I'll call them the regular taxi drivers, which is going to take away your competitive edge, and it could cost you work and it could cost you money in the long run. So my advice, and then if you want to take a vacation, you might not be able to take it whenever you want to. If you want to take time off to take care of a family matter, you may not be able to if your boss wants you to work at another time. My only point is you have to think about it. There are upsides and there are downsides to being an independent contractor or being an employee. For me, I would have to be paid a lot of money to want to be an employee around, because I'm just the kind of person, I don't like people telling me what to do, which is probably a major reason why I've been fired so many times, because I am not a team player. I am not a follow direction kind of guy. So that was my choice. Your choice might be different. All I'm saying is think about it, but don't make the specious claim right now that you are an employee and not an independent contractor, because you're not. And that's it for today. As I said, I probably went on long enough that I'm not going to get to the second subject I wanted to talk about, but I've whetted your appetite for a possible tomorrow subject. And even if you don't get that subject, the Trump tax transcripts, well, you still got me, and you can be sure that whatever I do talk about will be equally, if not more interesting. So that's it for today. As usual, thumbs up if you liked this video. Share it with your friends if you think they would benefit from my wit and wisdom. Not necessarily in that order. What the heck, send it to an enemy too. They have a right to benefit from my wit and wisdom as much as anybody. If you have any comments, you can put them in the comments section below the video. As I always say, you've heard what I think. Now I would like to hear what you think. And then perhaps you and other commenters would like to have a little debate in the comments section. Finally, subscribe. Well, not finally, before finally, penultimate to finally. If there's a subject that you would like to suggest that I discuss, you can put that in the comments too. I'll try to do it. And finally, subscribe, because, well, obviously it's good for me because I would like to have as many subscribers as I can, but it's also good for you because you can be sure you won't miss a future video. See, it works out for everybody. Is this a great country or what? So that's it for now. Bye.